Okay, so I'm gonna go through some guidelines quick while we're waiting for one other member of our committee to join. So just so everyone knows, the meeting is being recorded. This is the SLA and DCA licensing committee meeting. If you're not a committee member, please sign in by entering your name and affiliation in the chat box, which you can find in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen, and then any items you wish to speak for, against, or have any questions about. Please keep yourself muted unless you're speaking. On your desktop computer, you can use the microphone button in the bottom of your screen and press the space bar to temporarily unmute yourself. On a phone, you can tap the icon at the bottom of your screen. If you wish to speak or have a comment on any of the items, you can raise your hand using the participants tab. And on the phone, you can press *9. For each application, the chair is going to give a brief summary of the application as it's been submitted. Then the applicant will have a chance to speak. After that, we'll call in any members of the public that wish to speak or ask questions. And the applicant will then have a chance to respond. And then the committee members will discuss and come to a resolution. So that's generally how the meeting is going to go. I stop sharing this document for the moment.
I haven't had a response from Herman yet.
Okay.
While we're waiting, as Clint said, could you please sign into the chat box so that we know who you are? Because I see that only 2 people have signed in, but I see that there are more than 2 people on video. And that's helpful for us to take attendance also. And you should give your name, not just the application you're applying for or the location you're applying for, please.
Hey, Clint, can you send me minutes, the template?
Sure.
Thanks.
Guess I forgot to do that. I had them open and was maybe going to do them, but you're more than welcome to.
I got you. I got you.
It's just... Okay, I just sent them to you, Jesse.
Thanks.
Alex, we can't hear you if you're talking.
Clint, nothing came through.
Let me see. It's out in my sent. It
All
went
right.
out.
Maybe it's just taking a while.
It's not a huge file. It should be fine.
Sorry, I tried calling Herman, and Herman is 15 minutes away, so I think we can start.
Okay, I say we go ahead and start.
Before we begin, like I said, please sign into the chat room, and like Clinton said, so that we can, this is the way that we take attendance. And that means that you should sign your name in addition to the corporation you represent.
I just sent it. I forwarded it again, Jesse. So
Yeah,
Try.
it just came through just now.
Okay.
On the forward for some reason.
Huh. Okay.
All right.
All right, Jesse, let me know when you're ready.
Go ahead.
I do
I'm good.
see Sammy's iPhone. You have your hand up. Do you have a question or do?
I'm good, Alex. I'm good to start.
Okay.
You are.
Clinton had a question.
Sammy's iPhone. You have your hand raised. Do you have a question? Okay.
That doesn't know.
Okay.
All right, we're going to begin the meeting. This is the SLA DCA Licensing Committee of Community Board 3. Excuse me. I'm the chair, Alexandra Militano. In addition, there are 4 other committee members present, and we're expecting a Sept, but we're going to begin before he arrives. I'm going to go through, you can see that we've had a number of withdrawals on our agenda for tonight, specifically 3, and I'll just separate the agenda into what we would hear and what would not be heard generally. One of them was this afternoon, so it's a late withdrawal, so I just want to alert anybody who's come for that particular item. So the withdrawn items are 109 Ludlow Street, 177 Orchard Street, and 202 Avenue A. That's the one that withdrew this afternoon. That they've withdrawn from this particular agenda doesn't mean that they're never going to be heard. If you have an interest in hearing the applications for those locations or those specific applications, you should look to any future community board websites. They're published every month at the beginning of the month or at the very end of the previous month. So a new agenda should be published after next Tuesday, I would say by next Thursday, for October, if you have an interest in those items. The items not heard at committee, 2 of which are also struck, are items that are administratively dealt with by the office. And again, those also, the fact that they're withdrawn on this particular agenda doesn't mean that they won't ask to be heard or considered by the community board at some future point and will appear on a future agenda. So if you have an interest in the ones that are withdrawn from that portion of the agenda, which is Zazzy's Pizza, 173 Orchard Street, and Clandestino, which is I can't see it. Can you bring it up, Clint, for a second?
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, 35 Canal. I couldn't remember what it was. But if you have an interest in those, then you should also look for those for on a future agenda. We're going to move to what is on our agenda now. We may not take the items in order. We may take the applications before the other agenda items to be heard, which are numbers 2 and 3. But we do first have to move to an approval of previous month's minutes to officially begin the meeting. So I'm going to do that first and ask if there's a motion for the approval of previous month's minutes, or an aye.
Motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay. And then we just, can you go through the roll call?
Sure.
Jesse? Oh, Clint?
Or whoever.
Clint? Either is
Oh.
fine.
Okay. So Jesse Beck,
Here.
Ellen Lell,
Here.
Michelle Coopersmith,
Yes.
and Herman Hewitt. No.
Not yet. Okay.
And I'm, yes, I present.
And me also. Okay, and then I'm going to move 2 and 3 to the bottom of the agenda so that we can go to the applications first. I do, however, note, and we usually don't have a representative from an elected official's office present, but given that we do, I'm going to give her an opportunity to speak if she wants. Aura or Auda?
Yes.
I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it.
I'm just here to listen for today. I know that there were some businesses that were reaching out to our office, and we just wanted to be present.
Okay. Okay. Well, if there's anything you want to contribute, just let us know.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm just here to observe for today. I don't have anything to share, but thank you.
You're welcome. All right. We're going to first move to item number 4.
And just before we get started, there's a few people that have just joined since we made the announcement. If you could use the chat box to sign in with your name, your affiliation, or if you're here to speak for, against, or have questions about any of the applications, please use the chat box. That's how we take attendance and use it for our sign-in sheet.
Thank you, Clint. So item number 4 is an OP license application for 11 Division Street. The SLA notice is for a restaurant with a full menu, recorded music, and no outdoor space on the ground floor, and it's a second floor mezzanine. There have been longstanding wine beer licenses at this location, most notably Cuisine restaurant, which we last approved. I think the business remained the same at that point, but we last heard it in December of 2013 with stipulations to operate a full-service Chinese restaurant serving food to within 1 hour of closing, having hours of 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. all days, having a closed facade, playing recorded background music only, not using outdoor space, not applying for an alteration without first coming before the community board, not hosting pub crawls or party buses, not having late lines, and not having happy hours. The C of O on the questionnaire that was submitted to us is 200. The applicant also submitted letters from DOB, which seem to indicate that the C of O is 70 per floor, which would be 150. There's 15 tables and 94 seats. They're not divided according to ground floor and mezzanine. A 10-foot bar with 6 stools. There's no indication of where that's located. Proposed hours are 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. all days. The kitchen open all hours, serving Chinese food. I believe the letter from the attorney said Cantonese. There's no answer about the facade. 3 to 5 TVs, recorded background music, no promoted events, scheduled performances, or events with covers. 10 private parties per month, no security, no soundproofing, no pub crawls or party buses, happy hours to 7 p.m., no wait lines, and an agreement to have someone oversee staff, or excuse me, patrons and noise outside. The applicant counted 5 OPs within 500 feet and noted the proximity to a school. The school's directly across the street. It's PS 124. The applicant also submitted a proximity report from the SLA, which says it's 175 feet from this location. The applicant submitted its own drawing or diagram indicating that it was 376 feet away. The applicant also submitted letters of support from the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, as well as 14 other area associations or groups, 17 residents from Confucius Plaza, and then 4 other people who didn't reference any affiliation or the context in which they knew the applicant. The applicant, I think that's it. So this is the opportunity for the applicant and or his representative to make a presentation about the application or to clarify any of the things that I said or amend anything if any things are changed, any of those things are changed. Go ahead.
Hi everyone, this is Jake Chrysler from Halbron Levy. I'm representing with Wade Lee for Hakka Cuisine. Alex, thank you for your summary. There are just a few things that I want to add and clarify. There was an additional survey conducted by Landa Simon, which is where you get the 376 feet. It was a professional survey conducted, I believe, in March of this year. And also, there is one error in your packet. The Chinatown Corp did not comment on this application, did not comment to our applicant in his attempts to get support for this application. So in your packet, it says that they did provide support. They did not provide support or opposition to this application. Wade, I want you to be able to speak to the board about what you would like to do with this space and how you envision this project going forward. Wade, if you're there, please unmute yourself so that we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hi, it's Wade. I'm the principal of the Hakka Cuisine. So we're just trying to open a Cantonese cuisine as in the restaurant. And also, you know, I have my kids and go to school in the neighborhood. I have other business. I have other business in this neighborhood too. So I diversify my business portfolio.
Within your packet, you should have a CV for Wade as well as the manager, the proposed manager of the space.
Is that it? Are you finished?
Yes, we welcome any questions. I'm sure that you have questions, and we want to make sure that we have time to answer all of them for you.
Well, before Clint calls on anybody, I just want a couple of questions to clarify.
Mm-hmm.
Is it an actual second floor? Or is it a mezzanine?
It's a second floor.
Okay. And what's the breakdown of tables and seats per floor?
For the we have about probably 7 tables. We have 2 rooms.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, please?
I think in second
You're breaking
floor.
up a little.
At second floor we have two rooms and about total 7 tables.
Okay. What's the number of tables and seats on the first floor then?
First floor we have about maybe I think about 8 tables.
Okay.
Alex, I'm counting just so that I can give you an accurate count, and I'll let you know when I'm finished with that, okay?
Sure. And it would be good if we had a breakdown per room. And then I also have one other question. No, maybe 2 other questions. Where the bar is on the ground floor, is that?
Yes. Yes.
And the upstairs rooms, are those for dining?
Excuse me?
The upstairs rooms, are those just private rooms for dining?
Yes.
Are those additional dining rooms? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And is the facade fixed? Is it closed? Or does it have windows and doors that open other than the front door? As it is now, it's fixed.
The facade is fixed.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Then, yes, then I just need to know the tables and seats.
They're about 40 and 40. So both of the floors have pretty much the same amount of seating. Just the table configuration is different. There are larger tables on one of the floors.
So there's 2 rooms with seven tables and 40 seats.
Correct.
The tables and seats divided per floor, per room, excuse me. Yeah.
There are
Okay.
about 4 per each, 4 tables, and then 4 tables, 14 per room-ish.
That comes out to a little less than, well, you said 14, that comes out to less than the 94 seats total that you gave us the total. Right, he said 8 tables on the ground floor, 7 tables on the second floor. That's 15 tables, which is what we had as the total. We had 94 seats, but either by his numbers, your numbers, or the breakdown you gave, this is like 86. It's a little bit less. So is that?
Are you counting the bar as well or not?
Yeah, I was.
There would be, yes. You're right, Alex. I think that I missed a few. And just for the record, it would be 90. It would be 94. It's not the lower number that I said to you earlier.
Okay, so is it 94 with 40 on the ground floor and then a breakdown of, well, is it including the stools?
No, the stools would be separate. So 100
Okay.
seats altogether. Mhm.
Okay. So is it 40 and 60 per floor? Is it 50 and 50 per floor? How is it?
40 and 60 is what I'm seeing.
40 on the ground floor and 60 in the 2 upstairs rooms?
Correct.
Okay. All right. I've just, all I've done here is ask clarifying questions about the application, just so that we have complete information. Is there anybody who's here who wants to ask a question or make a comment? There's an audience member. I didn't see anybody sign up.
There was no one signed up to speak to this item. If anyone would like to, please raise your hand or unmute yourself and speak. Okay. I don't hear anyone.
We can move on to committee members then. Is there anybody who has any questions or wants to make any comments with respect to this application?
I don't know.
I don't really. I mean, at first I was questioning the distance to the school because I think the main entrance is on Division Street for that school, but it does appear to be more than 200 feet away, so I think it's fine.
I mean, if we were to approve it, we can include what the SLA has, what the applicant has submitted, and just ask them to evaluate the proximity in addition to, you know, any other recommendation we're making.
Sure.
Ellen or Michelle?
No comment. I can confirm that the entrance to the school is on Division Street, but it's diagonally across the street. So I don't know how the measurement is done per SLA regulations, but it is like diagonally further down. It's not diagonally straight across
Yeah.
Division Street.
So
Then you'll hit the gate of the for the exterior of Confucius Plaza.
mhm. Yeah, I looking at it on the map, I'm mapping it out. I think I agree that I think it is more than 200 feet, so I think it's fine.
Can
still-
Jake, can go ahead?
I was just gonna say, we can still, I think, do as you said, mentioned, Alex, that, you know, if we do decide to approve it, we can list a resolution or a whereas clause, just asking them to confirm that it is 200 feet.
Jake, can you or the applicant speak to the specific experience? Because I saw that the applicant had businesses in the community, but I didn't see very much other experience. And I know you said he had a manager as well.
Yeah, Wade, would you like to speak a little bit about your other companies that you have and your involvement within the neighborhood?
Yes. First of all, I own other business in Chinatown. That's why the social adult daycare, which is senior, no case at Confucius Plaza. I also own some home care agency. Also, the main office at Confucius Plaza is Confucius which complex. So, and then we have like about 4,000 employees at the home care agency, and also as a community association, I'm the current president of the Lee Family Association, located at 41 Mott Street, and also involved with the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. So I do a lot of community services in the area. So I'm very familiar to the community, and my kids go to school at Transfiguration too. And so.
This would be your first restaurant within the neighborhood, correct?
I was working at the Fuling restaurant, the former restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was about to try to start a business, I worked there about a little bit more than 2 years to see how restaurants are and how the business will be. So I feel comfortable and confident on the business.
Thank you.
What's the experience of the person who's managing the business?
Oh, he has a lot of experience, and it's the biggest restaurant in Chinatown. He was a manager over there for almost 10 years.
Of which business?
Ding Fong.
Ding Fong.
From August 2005 to May 2016.
Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Does anybody else have any? Go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
thank you. That's okay.
Did you want to finish?
No, we're all set. I was just going to say, and his other restaurant was New Chatham Restaurant, so a combined experience of over 20 years in restaurant management.
Okay. The committee members, should we go to the making of a resolution now?
Sure. And by the way, Herman just joined us as well, so.
Sort of, but he's on the phone. All right. You want me to go to the making of a resolution? I'll do that. So I propose that we make a resolution to deny unless it agrees, the applicant agrees to stipulations. Going through the whereas clauses, it would be what the applicant is applying for, which is an OP license, the elements of the application, and I would amend what the information that we already have to include the floors, the breakdown of tables and seats, and where the bar is located, and that the facade is fixed. That the business has been a long-standing restaurant with a wine beer license, which we last heard in 2013, when the license for that business was issued, the applicant experience, which I would now include the additional managerial experience, as well as the fact that the applicant owns businesses in the community and has other ties to the community. We would still include the letters of support that I referenced before, the number of OPs, as well as the issue of the proximity to the school, that the applicant submitted a proximity report from the SLA indicating it's 175 feet, and another proximity report of its own that is 376 feet, and asking that the SLA investigate the distance from this location to the school, given that discrepancy or that difference. But that if it determines that it's not within 200 feet of the school, which I'll identify in the resolution, that we would deny unless it agrees to the following stipulations. So it would be Chinese restaurant or the kitchen open and serving food all hours, hours of 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. all days. No outdoor space, closing the facade, having a closed fixed facade. Sorry. Playing recorded background music only, not having DJs, live music, promoted events, scheduled performances, or events with covers. Having 10 private parties per month, no more than 10 private parties per month, not applying for alteration without first coming before the community board, not hosting pub crawls or party buses, not having unlimited drink specials, having happy hours to 7 p.m., not having wait lines outside, and having a staff person responsible for overseeing crowds and noise outside, and posting the stipulation form inside the business next to the liquor license, and immediately addressing any resident complaints, and providing contact information to the community board so that we can forward contact information to residents or any other interested parties. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Ellen, present.
Ellen, you have to, so it's, all right, first, Ellen. So Ellen is present, not voting. Ellen, you have to tell us your affiliation so that we can record it, because it's required with a present, not voting.
I have a conflict because I work for one of Wade's other companies.
Okay. All right, and then Herman, he's muted. Are you voting on this, or are you opposed or abstain? You're voting yes. Okay. So 5 yes, 1 present, not voting. Okay. All right. So Jake, what'll happen is I'll finish drafting the stipulation form, and I'll give it to the office tomorrow, and they'll forward it to you. Are you the person who should be receiving the stipulation form?
Yes, please.
Okay, anybody else besides you or just you?
Wade can as well, but I would like to be primary contact.
Can you give me your email addresses so that I can include them with the form?
Yeah, of course. So it's JAKE dot TRISSLER at helbraunlevy.com. And I can spell Helbraun-Levy for you if you'd like.
It's up there.
Okay, perfect.
And Wade?
Yes, Wade. It's Wade, W-A-D-E, at
That was ill-placed. Go ahead, Wade at
Golden Touch, GOLDEN-TOUCH, homecare.com. Golden Touch.
all one word?
Yeah, all together. Golden Touch, home care.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Alex, would it be helpful for you if I sent you or Edwin in written form the breakdown of tables and chairs per floor? Would that be helpful?
Sure, that would be fine.
Okay, I'll send it to Edwin and make sure he has it in the morning, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay.
We're
good
going to
night.
move now on to item number 7. Which is an application for 186 Avenue B. This is the SLA notice says an application for a restaurant with a full menu, recorded music, and background and a backyard on the first floor. This has been a long-standing restaurant with different names, so various restaurants. The most recent one was administratively approved a beer wine license in February of 2017 with stipulations to operate a full-service Thai restaurant serving food all hours, having hours of 11:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. all days, not using outdoor space, closing the facade at 10, playing recorded background music, not applying for an alteration without first coming before us, not hosting pub crawls or party buses, not having unlimited drink specials, and not having happy hours and not having late lines. There was no C of O listed as part of this application. 19 tables and 62 seats with 10 tables and 28 seats inside and 9 tables and 34 seats outside in the diagram that was submitted. A 12-foot bar with no stools listed, but then I counted 6 stools in the diagram that was submitted. A kitchen open all hours serving Spanish, Italian food, a closed facade, an unspecified number of TVs, I think it said to be determined. Recorded background music, no promoted events, scheduled performances or events with covers, 8 private parties per year. Proposed hours are 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. all days inside, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. all days outside. No security, no soundproofing, no pub crawls or party buses, happy hours to 8 p.m., no wait lines. There's no agreement about having somebody oversee crowds and noise outside. There are, I'm sorry? There are 11 OPs within 500 feet, and the applicant listed no license experience, but managerial experience at a restaurant on Mulberry Street for 10 years. This is now the applicant or the representative of the applicant now has an opportunity to make a statement or give a presentation or clarify any of the information that was previously provided. Most of this is from the questionnaire that was submitted by the applicant. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, good night. Thank you for the summary of our business. I'm Diego Correa. He is JoseLuis Bardesio, and we are the owners, partners of JoseLuis.
Thank you very much in first time for me and the people working for me for me the opportunity to be in your neighborhood. This is a special moment for us because it's the first restaurant have me and him. I'm working in Mulberry for so many years. My last position is I was a manager, and I try to do something good for the neighborhood, something good for the people working, and something good for the customer. I really appreciate it. You listen, everybody here. This is Diego, present, Jose, and this is the chef. The name is Samuel. He's from Italy. Thank you very much for everything. Okay, see you.
I don't know, you have any question for us?
Are you here on your own, or are you here with a representative? Just so you know, I want to make sure I'm not excluding anybody.
Yeah, we filled it out with a representative, but he's not here with us, so we are here by our own.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Clint, is there anybody who's signed up to speak for this or who's raising their hand?
No one has signed up. No one has signed up to speak, and at the moment, I don't see anyone raising their hand.
So then maybe we can go to asking questions and coming to a resolution. This might have been administratively approved, except that it has a backyard use. So we are hearing it at committee because it includes outdoor space. Some of the businesses in the past have had outdoor space at this location. Many of them have been fine. I think whenever there's been an issue, the issue has been with the outdoor space. So I think we just want to make sure that the outdoor space is going to be utilized as an extension for dining, as opposed to just an area where people can stand and congregate. If that ever happens again, although it's happening now, so it could happen in a backyard, I suppose. So is it your intention to have just seats and tables and seats for dining, and just have dining in the backyard?
Yes, it is. Yes. As maybe some people from the community board came last weekend, but we just have a dining tables, and that's our priority, just serving and close it by 10. And serving, because as you say, mostly of the people right now, or the restaurants, only can open outdoors. And that's one was the main reason that we take this place, because we want to give the people the right to don't go outside, because sometimes you see outside in the open streets, it's been accidents, it's been a lot of things happening. So inside in the backyard, some people that came these days say that they feel more safe. Dining out there in the backyard is more closed, more safe. But yes, our intention is only dining and closing at 10 p.m. every day.
And okay. Sorry, and also the backyard, the decoration, if you come in, I promise it's so beautiful. And 10 o'clock, me, him, and everybody here guaranteed if the backyard start to close, it's closed. There's no music at all. If you want to come here, if you're a neighbor, you listen, the music is very, very down. It's a very quiet spot. It's really, really something nice. And we respect for everybody, respect for the neighborhood, and respect for the freedom of another person. Thank you.
So I have one question, Alex.
Go ahead.
So you did mention music. So are you having speakers and music outside?
No, not really. We have just these days, the small speaker that you connect sometimes.
Yep.
But we put little low, and we turn up but at 9 p.m. we turn off. That's it. But it's not like a speakers. We don't have anything outside like a speaker or sound system. No.
No.
Okay.
It's only there'll be music. That's it.
Okay. So that's. I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I actually used to live on the 6th floor above in 186. So I was there for many years. And as Alex mentioned, some of the businesses were fine with the backyard space. The ones that the noise did tend to be a problem were the ones that probably illegally so had speakers outside, and the music just seemed to carry, even if it wasn't loud. Those are old tenement buildings, and it just, so I would just, don't have speakers outside, and I think you should be fine.
Yes, I told you, we don't really have, because our representative told us about it, and people who came here from the neighbor like recommend us don't make a sound. We just have to have a space when people come in like calm, relax, safe, and that's our idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Jesse, Michelle,
Nothing for
Hernan,
me.
Ellen? Okay, so my only recommendation would then be, just to clarify Clint's point, is there shouldn't be music outside. 186 Avenue B, that particular yard is abutted by buildings, right? So there's a building above and then there are buildings on all sides. So really, other than the people, which is going to cause enough noise, there shouldn't be any additional introduction of sound. So there shouldn't be music outside at all, right? It should just be the purpose of them being outside and being able to eat.
The benefit of that space, as opposed to some of the other more problematic ones, this is not necessarily a little canyon. It has the park and the playground behind it, so it's not, there aren't as many buildings for it to echo off of. So hopefully the voices won't be as much of a problem as they are elsewhere either. But
yeah, Clint, you're really, I mean, you're really clear on that, because before somebody told me about that too, you know. So thank you for saying that.
Thank you so much.
All right, should we go to the making of resolution? I would, I can make the resolution. It would be to deny unless with the following whereas clauses. What the application is for, what the elements of the application are, what has been at that location. So that like location, whether it's had an OP license or a beer wine license, has long been a restaurant in some form. The most recent history we have for that location and when the license was issued for that business, the number of OPs in the area, the applicant experience. I know one person, that one principal wrote 10 years experience with the business on Mulberry Street. Is there any additional experience that you have operating an eating and drinking business or working in an eating and drinking business?
Yes, I've been working for like more than 10 years, like managing restaurant and like helping in accounting, getting license, certifying with the health department. I have my, I think I got my food permit since like 15 years ago. So I've been having a lot of experience, like more than in the front restaurant, in the back restaurant. And my partner here, Jose, he's been the opposite. He's been having like 20 years in the restaurant business in the front side of the restaurant. So that's why we partnered together, because he knows everything about the front.
In the last,
and
then the last 10 years at the restaurant on Mulberry Street, is that right?
He was
20 years experience?
Yeah. I was with him in this restaurant too, because this restaurant used to be owned, or is owned by one owner that I worked for him, and he had 4 or 5 restaurants in that time. So I was working for the 5th restaurant, and he was working for one of that restaurants that you mentioned there.
Okay, so then I would, in speaking about the applicant experience, I would just amend what we previously knew and include that one principal has more than 10 years experience in the backroom operations of a restaurant and of restaurants, excuse me, and the other one has more than 20 years, with the last 10 being at the address that I gave before. And then given these circumstances, given that this has been a longstanding restaurant, the location has been a longstanding restaurant, and that they're seeking to operate a restaurant with moderate hours. I would deny unless with the following stipulations. So it would be a full service Spanish, Italian restaurant with a kitchen open and serving food during all hours, with hours of operation indoors of 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. all days. With hold on. with a closed facade, a fixed facade. Recorded background music, no live music, promote events, scheduled performances, or events with cover fees. No more than 8 private parties per year. No alteration without first coming before us. No pub crawls or party buses. No unlimited drink specials. Happy hours to 8 p.m. No wait lines. And having someone, what it means to have staff outside to oversee crowds and noise means one of your staff members is just responsible for making sure that there's nobody. It doesn't mean somebody's standing out there all the time, but making sure that there's no crowds or noise outside on the sidewalk. Okay? So staff outside to oversee crowds and noise, staff responsible for overseeing crowds and noise outside. And then with respect to the backyard, that it would be operated as an extension of the restaurant with sit-down dining only, with no more than 9 tables and 34 seats, and hours of operation of 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. all days, and no music.
No problem.
I have one question I want to ask the applicant. So she mentioned a closed fixed facade. Your front windows, do they open?
Sorry, can you say it again?
Your front windows at the front of your business, do they open?
Yes,
Yeah.
because we have one door and one
small window.
that are
Yes,
open, like,
but the window does open, doesn't it? That window
Yes.
does open, correct?
It does open. Yes.
Okay. One thing, Alex. Yeah, the front window
So
opens.
you want me to amend it to closing at 10?
Yes.
Okay. All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Do you want, Jesse, you want to do it?
Jesse, do it. I'll let
I
you.
did the first one. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
That's everybody.
Herman's raising his hand. Yes. Sir.
Opposed, abstained, there's nobody left, so I'm just saying it. Okay, so you have to sign a form with the method of operation, with your method of operation. It's a stipulation form. I have to send it to you, and then you sign it and send it back to our community board office. But I have to do that because we're on this virtual meeting. In this virtual meeting, I have to send it to you via email. So who should I send it to? One or both of you, and what email address?
To me.
Okay, and you're Diego, right?
Yes.
Diego, it's the internet man.
Okay. Go ahead, what email address?
Diego, Diego, C as in Charlie, O, 85 @gmail.com.
So DIEGOCO
Yes.
35, is that what you said, 35?
85.
85, I'm sorry. Go ahead, and at gmail.com?
Exactly.
Okay. So I give it to my office tomorrow, and then they send it to you, all right? And with instructions about how to return it,
Okay.
Okay.
okay?
So,
All
okay, so you send me and I back
So
to
you
you.
are approved, provided you agree to operate your business with the conditions that we made in our motion, and those conditions are going to be in the form that we send you to sign.
Okay.
Okay?
No problem. Yes. Perfect.
All right.
Okay.
Take care. Have a good night.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
We're going to move on to number.
And come back for the restaurant, please.
Okay.
My choice.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
We're going to move on to item number 9. Let me just go back to item number 9 is 207 Madison Street. No.
Yes.
Okay. So this is an application, the SLA notice says for a restaurant with a full menu, recorded music, jukebox, no outdoor space on the first floor and basement. We administratively approved a wine beer license for this corporation in July of 2017 with stipulations to have a kitchen serving food, open and serving food during all hours, having hours of 6:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. all days, not using outdoor space, closing the facade at 10 p.m., playing recorded background music, not applying for an alteration without first coming before us, not hosting pub crawls or party buses, not having unlimited drink specials, not having wait lines. We then administratively approved a 100% corporate change to Samuel Alvarez, who's the present applicant, in September of 2017, but the attorney may be able to speak to it, or the representative rather, but that doesn't seem to have happened because he's not the principal on the SLA's website, and he is applying now for an OP for the same business. There's no zoning listed, there's no CFO listed, 11 tables and 44 seats, no bar, 8 hours or 6:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. all day, a kitchen open all hours serving Spanish food. There's no answer about the facade, no TVs, recorded background music, no promoted events, scheduled performances or covers, no security, no soundproofing. There's no agreement about the stipulations or to the stipulations that are on the back of the questionnaire, so I don't have any other information to provide at this point. So I'm going to have to go through that with you before we can continue on to a discussion of this application. There are no OPs within 500 feet, and for the actual business that's there now, the wine beer license was issued June 1st of 2017. The information, the application about the experience of the applicant is that he seems to have been the manager at this business while it's been in operation, but I don't know if that's the 3 years it's been in operation or less. Okay, so first, I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak or make a presentation about your application, but I just want to know, with respect to the stipulations at the end, none of them were filled in. So there are things that I just have to ask, which are usually filled in, which are, are you agreeing that there won't be pub crawls or party buses to this location? Are you agreeing that there will be wait lines? Are you agreeing that you're going to have somebody responsible for overseeing the outside? And is there an intent to have happy hours, which is another one of the questions that's actually filled out? So it's either no happy hours or an intention to have happy hours and then to a certain time.
Well, Sammy could answer that question, whether or not if there's going to be any happy hours. I doubt it, but Sammy, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Can you please tell me if there's going to be any happy hours that you...
Well, right now, we're not going with any happy hours.
Okay.
As of now, no party buses or happy hours.
And can you, what is the C of O for the location? When I look at it, it looks small. So what is?
It's a very small business, and it doesn't have a CFO because of the age of the building.
So it's 74. That's the default one.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And what is in the facade? Is it fixed? It looks fixed in pictures.
It's a canopy.
That means that windows are closed other than the front door.
Yes, they're closed. The door, everything is closed. No window opens, just the door entry.
Okay. All right. So thank you for clarifying those things. Now, is there any presentation you want to make or anything you want to say with respect to the application?
Well, let me say that, like I said, we're applying for a full liquor license. There is a kitchen there. I've gone to the location. It's a recorded music. I asked a question about juice box, and the applicant said yes, so we checked it. There's nothing outdoors. It's a storefront with one room. Right now, all the tables and chairs are basically, put aside. basically kitchen with 2 bathrooms. What else? The applicant was at one point was the manager. I believe his father works there as well. His mother is working there as well. What you said about corporate change may have occurred back in 2017, 2018. I was not involved at the time, but that's what I think I've been told that. And the basement is within the kitchen that you actually go down. So if we were to lay out the chairs and tables, it would be around 11 tables and 44 chairs.
The basement, though, is used for storage in the kitchen, or the storage and back room use, not patron use.
I mean, there is not that much of it. I mean, the kitchen is the back room. I mean, it's a tiny space. So there is an entrance to the basement right from the kitchen. It's like one of those hatch that you open up and then you kind of go walk down. So it's one of those, it's just for storage purposes.
Okay, thank you. And you said family members work in this business. Is the applicant related to the person who runs the business now or owns the business now?
Sammy Alvarez, that's the principal.
He's the principal of the business now, so there actually was a corporate change. When I looked on the SLA website, it didn't say Samuel Alvarez, but is there no license there now then? Because I thought that there was a beer wine license there.
Let me see 1 second.
It was issued June 1st of 2017. I thought it was still active.
And I don't see any active license for a restaurant wine. The one I just see that OP license.
You see the pending OP.
Yes.
But I looked it up and I saw, when I click on it, I see the history for the beer wine. Has there been a beer wine license there?
Sammy?
Yes, there was.
And then what happened to it?
We never reapplied for it.
When did it expire? Can you tell me that?
Well, I came in managing the place in 2013, and we never had alcohol. We were trying to apply for it in 2017, as you see. We never sold beer or wine or any of that prior to that.
Well, you were working there, and you've been working there since 2013. Is that right?
Yes. And in 2018, I became the owner.
Okay.
It's a family business. My uncle, my mom, my cousins work here. It's a family business, very small restaurant. We never had problems or issues with the community. We've been here for a very long time, and we're looking just to stay alive, move forward.
And Sammy, just so that are you also Carlos, or is Carlos somebody different?
No, Carlos is
okay.
one of my assistants.
Okay. All right, just checking, since Carlos is the person whose name shows up on the over the video area for you. Okay.
Yeah, he wanted to talk. He just stepped out.
Okay. And oh yeah, he also put his name up, Carlos.
Yeah.
Does he have a last name?
I believe it's Ramirez or Rodriguez.
Okay. Is he coming back?
I'm not sure. He had to just step away for a little bit. Okay. He had a long distance phone call.
All right. So you were the manager, but you're unrelated to the person who owned the business before, and then you took the business over in 2018. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And you've managed since 2013, and in that time there hasn't been a beer wine license.
No.
Even though at some point your boss applied for it.
They were trying to apply for it. Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. I'm going to open this up to any other questions. Sorry. I'm sorry for that. I just wanted to clarify that.
I don't specifically have any questions. We did have a couple people signed up to speak from the public to this item.
Okay. Other than Carlos, who stepped away?
Yes. Trevor,
Okay.
Trevor Holland,
Go ahead.
I think, was here to speak.
Trevor?
Or ask a question.
Yeah, I'm using a new device. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, except you're rustling something.
Just wanted to ask the applicants. This is, I'm sure they're aware because they have family who work in that. There's no bar in here, correct?
No, there's no bar.
No, there's no bar.
Right. I live right down the street from this particular restaurant, and I'm sure you're aware of the issue at Rutgers and Madison. The 7th Precinct called that the worst corner in all of the Lower East Side, just because there are a number of issues on that corner. And I'm just wondering how yes.
Can you just tell us what the issues are?
There are a number of issues that have to do with crime. I mean, I don't want to get into the particulars of it. I mean, it's the place where a lot of shootings and stabbings have happened over the past few years. There has been a police car stationed there, sometimes 24 hours a day, just because of the safety issue at Rutgers and Madison, which I'm sure the restaurant owners are aware of. I understand, especially in this environment, that restaurants need to make money, and this is one of the ways. I'm just curious as to what they plan to do to make sure that the approval of a liquor license doesn't make that corner any worse.
Do you want to respond to that? Either
yes.
Neil or Sammy? Go ahead.
Well, I just want to tell my neighbor that I am aware of what's happening there. And I mean, I'm going to hire the security if I need them. As right now, we're trying to just open until 12 at night, maybe close everything before 1. So we're just like entering New Warlord. We're trying to make everything, right in the immediate area. We know that there is a lot of problems with gangs and shootings and stabbings in this area. I could assure you that I will hire security if anything will come out of line, but I'm not having a live music or that type of background music is all I'm having. And this is a family-oriented business that I think we are gonna try go and take action the best that we can to make sure that we could proceed with our business uninterrupted.
I actually think that's all. I just wanted to raise that issue with the applicants and the committee members. I didn't realize this was going to come up so quickly. I saw it as number 9, but now it's up. But I just wanted to raise those particular issues with, especially since, I live a block away from this particular corner.
Okay, thank you, Trevor. Clint, anybody else?
Trevor was the only one.
So this raises a couple of questions for me, and that is that the proposed business, the questionnaire didn't include any information about security, but the applicant is talking about the possibility of security to address, I guess, issues that might come up with the business and the area. So I think we just need to have a clarification of that. And then also he said his intention is to close by 12 or 1, but the hours that were listed were 6:30 to 11. So we just need to know whether or not those are the hours or there are other anticipated hours that we should be considering now.
I mean, we had put down 11 o'clock. Is that acceptable to you?
Well, we were, and now that we're having liquor and people go out a little bit more later in the night, I was trying to see if we could push it up to closing at 1 and having our kitchens close at 1 and clean out everything before 1. It's,
So
you know,
proposing...
I'm just trying to like make it work right now. So I want to pass 11 o'clock. Usually people are out and about at that time. So, you know, I want to make sure that I get my kitchen and everything at the same exact time. Maybe, you know, moving forward where we never had a license, I just want to take the right steps moving forward.
Okay, so you're proposing 6:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. all days? Is that what you're proposing, or different hours, different days? What is it?
Just on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I would like to stay up to 1. Then all the other regular Monday to Thursdays up to 12 o'clock.
Okay.
With the liquor license, once we get it. I mean, you know, I believe that that will help my business. So moving forward, once we get the license, those are my 10 hours.
Okay, and then can you maybe speak to this intention to have security if you need to?
Yes. I want to assure the neighbor that, you know, we don't want to have extra disturbance or anyone standing, hanging. And this is like, I know we're right across the street from the projects, and I know this is like a little bit of gang-related area, but at the same time, if I need it for whatever, I will provide to help and make sure that we manage everything correctly.
Just to point it out that the gentleman did say, in general, the area
The corner.
without the liquor. So if it's attributable to the liquor being there at the client's store, I mean the restaurant, then of course we'll be up for renewal in 2 years, and we'll have to deal with that more strictly. But I think for the time being, I think the applicant will be more aware, and we'll be more vigilant about it, and then we'll see what happens in 2 years.
Okay. Are there questions from anybody else? Questions from committee members? All right. So, I mean, this is an area where there are no liquor licenses. So the evaluation of this license is a little different than the evaluation of one where there are 3 or more licenses already within 500 feet. That being, and it's a long-standing business with an applicant who has, a tie to the business in that he's actually been the manager for 7 years, for 5 years, and then the owner for 2 years, owner-manager for 2 years. I think I'm okay with approving this with the hours he's proposing, except not Sunday, because that doesn't make sense to me. So usually later hours are Friday and Saturday because it goes into Sunday morning, or they're Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but they're not generally Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I just was wondering whether or not you wanted to.
I want to correct that. Yes, I would like to say that.
Go ahead, Sam.
Go ahead.
I would like to correct that. Yes, I'm sorry. I meant to say Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Yes, not Sunday. Of course.
Okay.
Sunday we will be closing earlier.
All right. So he's proposing hours of 6:30 to 12 Sunday through Wednesday, 6:30 to 1 Thursday through Saturday. Okay. All right. I will go to the making of a resolution. So it will be a deny unless the applicant agrees to the stipulations that we enumerate at the end. The first whereas clause will be what the applicant is applying for, what the elements of the application are, what the license history is for the location, that although it applied to the community board in 2017 for a beer wine license, although the corporation applied for a beer wine license, there's no existing license at this location, and hasn't been for at least 7 years. That there was 100% corporate change to the present applicant that we administratively approved in September of 2017. What the applicant's experience is, and that he's been the manager for 7 years, the owner for 2 years. And maybe that he has represented that this is a family-run business with other members of his family also working within the business. And that given these circumstances, and also that there are 0 licenses within 500 feet, given these circumstances, the lack of licenses in the surrounding area. And I have to add in Trevor, that a resident appeared to express concern about the proximity to the corner of Madison and Rutgers, which is a high crime area for this particular precinct. And that given these circumstances and that the applicant is proposing to continue to maintain the method of operation as a restaurant, you're maintaining the business name. What is the business name, by the way?
El Castillo de Manhattan Rest Corp.
No, the business name and the DBA, not the corporate name.
No, you want the corporate name?
I know, I want the DBA. Corp is the corporate name.
Let me see.
Sammy, what do you do business as? Hello?
It's the same name outside.
It's still El Castillo de Manhattan Restaurant. Is that what it is? Okay, thank you. Okay, so given that he's maintaining the method of operation as a restaurant, the business name, and presumably the staff, is he also maintaining the staff since it's all his family?
Yes.
That we would approve with the following stipulations. So those stipulations would be that he's going to operate a full-service Spanish restaurant with a kitchen open and serving food during all hours of operation, with the amended hours that he gave, which I stated, with no outdoor space, a fixed facade, recorded background music, no DJs, no live music, no promoted events, no events with cover fees, no scheduled performances, no alteration without first coming before the community board, no pub crawls or party buses, no unlimited drink specials, no happy hours, no wait lines, and someone outside to oversee, who will be outside or have the responsibility of going outside to oversee crowds and noise outside.
I agree.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michelle. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's all of us. Ellen, did you say aye?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And then, as I said with everybody else, I have to fill out the stipulation form and send it into the office tomorrow. Since we're virtual now, or finish the stipulation form, they have a draft. Who should I send it to? Would it be to you? Is it just going to be to you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, okay. And what's your email address?
Neil, which is Neal, SLA at DT, which is David Thomas, lawny.com.
So Neil, SLA at D as in dog, T as in Thomas, law.com.
No, lawny.com.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Okay. All right, I will send it into our office tomorrow and they'll forward it to you.
Thank you.
God bless you guys. Thank you so much for everything. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go back to items number 2 and 3. So the first one, item number 2, is an extension of a discussion from last month, which is whether or not to administratively approve whether or not to add in our administrative approval stipulations a requirement that an applicant operate for a certain period of time. The proposal from the office was 1 year before applying for an upgrade. I submitted sort of a draft that included some background with respect to the administrative approval process, or rather that we have one, and what it requires. I guess the rationale for having this particular requirement as a stipulation, along with the other stipulations that are published on the community board website, and that the applicants have to agree to in order to be administratively approved. So I'm going to open it to discussion, and then we can decide whether or not to make a resolution, to have a resolution and what it would consist of. Does anybody want to speak to it?
So, so here's my thought, and I can see both sides of this, but given the current climate, and not saying we want it just to be open season, but given the current climate and we want to encourage existing businesses to try and survive. Though then again, wait, now that I'm saying this, if it's an existing business that was administrative approved, they don't have the stipulation. They wouldn't have the stipulation on there.
No, they wouldn't.
But
So maybe
it could
I would
still be someone now. I mean, who knows how long this is going to go on for?
Yeah.
So,
but if it's,
I think that's a valid point.
All right. Well, to finish what you were saying, Clinton and Jesse.
so I was going to say, if we want to support existing businesses, not bringing in new businesses to spread the customer base even thinner. And if it's a new business coming in, they have the option to, apply for a full license or come to us to be heard for something else, as opposed to just going through the administrative approval.
All right, Jesse.
So, I don't know. I mean, you guys have more experience with this. If this is such a common thing that we need to actually put in the stipulation where they have to wait a year, so you guys would have that. If that happens often, I don't think at this time thinning out the herd of customers is a huge concern, given just the lack of, given the mass closures of businesses. I would just make sure that we're aware, cognizant of any sort of extra burden or pressure that we're putting on businesses that would typically make sense in a typical time, that maybe it's worth holding off for right now during this time.
Anybody else?
Well, basically, that's my feeling in a sense. I mean, I just can't understand where the existing business are barely surviving. And coming winter, when even 25% indoor stuff, why even people are still coming for license with the the situation that exists. So I agree with what anyway. I agree with what Jesse said about the whole situation.
All right, Michelle and Ellen. Either one of you? You both disappeared.
Sorry, my iPad doesn't work if I don't have my headphones in. My headphones just died. So anyway, now they're back. I think I agree with Jesse. Like it doesn't, I don't know if this has been, have people been coming back during this time? I haven't seen any on the agenda since I've been coming, but.
No, not during this time, but we did have a spate last fall where we had several months where we had a bunch of upgrades coming that were, 5-6 months after going through the administrative approval process. And the thing is, the administrative approval process isn't, it's meant to actually help. It's to help them so they don't have to come for a full committee. They can do it in a much simpler process, but yet we're supposed to get something out of it. So when they go through the administrative approval process and then come back in 5 or 6 months, it's making more work for us because the office has to go through the first process and then they come to us. So that's where this whole idea has started, was that we're giving them something by letting them go, not come to a meeting. And by the way, we're the only community board in New York City, not just in Manhattan, that does anything like this at all.
What do you
No
mean
one else
by that does administrative approval?
that does administrative approvals. Like, and the other community boards that are similar to us have balked at the idea even when it's been brought up. Like CB2 thinks it's, I don't want to say ridiculous. They don't necessarily agree that it's a good thing to do. So,
and the ones that don't hear,
yes.
Yes.
And
the ones that don't hear beer wine licenses are the ones that don't have any issues. Like they don't have a lot of license applications to begin with, and they may not just choose not to hear them or comment on them in any way, rather than administratively approving them.
I mean, is there a way to do that? But do we have to hear improvement?
If they apply, if we apply, we have to hear them.
Ellen.
Yes, and Laura, I see your hand, and we'll get to you
speak.
right after Ellen.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the proposed as is. I think there's enough consideration given to all stakeholders, and I think it meets a lot of people's needs and complaints.
Go ahead, Laura.
Hi. I just want to share that, we're seeing now people applying for full liquor in previously unlicensed spaces. So I think that that's something we need to consider in the mix. It's absolutely an unusual climate. I'm literally tracking businesses opening and closing every day. I'm well aware of what's going on. I think existing businesses who've been operating for years throughout the COVID, if they think that that upgrading will help them, I think they will apply. My concern there is that if it doesn't help them, we have a lot more liquor license establishments that never revert back to dry goods retail or retail that otherwise serves the community. We also, I think they're giving their landlord a reason to get rid of them in exchange for a corporate nightlife partner that down the road, people who will hold out. There's a risk. If you're behind in your rent and you win an upgrade, I don't know. I think they're running a risk of giving their landlord ammunition to switch them out for a blue chip tenant, so to speak. So while there may not be a lot of competition right this second for these spaces, there are definitely people who are holding their spaces and not working with their tenants who are presently licensed, not giving them a break, and essentially forcing them out because they have something else in mind for their property. So I would like you all to consider that in the mix. It's just what I'm observing every day. Thanks.
But my question for you, Laura, is are you saying that you agree that we should put this stipulation in place, or that we shouldn't? Or did you not take a stand?
I support this stipulation. I
Okay.
think if right now you're not seeing a lot, it's hard to put a deal of any sort together right now. And if you're not seeing people, short-term people, a rush of short-term people who've been administratively approved reapplying, it's just because that's where we're at right now. Who knows where we're going to be in a year? And I think having it as a stipulation for me, for new businesses who are coming in, because you're not just seeing all upgrades. I think it helps put the brakes on full liquor licenses in an area that is still oversaturated. When what we need are businesses that serve the needs of the residents, not destination nightlife.
So here's another question for you, Laura, that is only, incidentally related to this. I know I feel like I've seen, I can count 4 or 5 restaurants that I've seen open in the past month. Are there more, are there restaurants still opening? Businesses
You
still
mean
opening?
new restaurants opening?
I can think of 4 on my, just that I've seen in the last month that have opened.
Okay. So I'll just say that September for me is typically, there's a lot of turnover in September in general in our storefronts. It's a very busy month because it's right before I usually close my print guide. So it's a mad scramble. There's always a lot of turnover now. I think people are moving forward with their plans, and I'm happy to see that. That means they believe in the long term. So, there's a lot of things that are opening. There's a lot of businesses coming into the neighborhood. We're certainly losing a lot of them as well.
True.
But they don't have the burden of having lived through this horrible 6 months of paying full rent and having no or greatly reduced income. They don't have that burden.
Yep. I wonder if it would, like, if putting in the stipulation is a deterrent. I'm actually hesitant about this pumping of the brakes. I feel like
Here's the one thing to remember. But one thing to remember, Jesse, they don't have to apply for an administrative approval. They can come to us and be heard. All beer and wine doesn't have to go for an administrative approval. This is their choice. So they can choose to come to us specifically because they don't want that limitation. And we could then hear and decide if we want to go with it. But
got it. All right.
Beer and wine,
that's right. I did forget about that. Okay.
Yeah. A beer and wine, no applicant has to go through the administrative approval process. If they don't like the terms, they can say, no, we're going to come and be heard by the committee and take our chances.
All right.
So that's the one reason why I feel we're not forcing anyone to do anything. This is their option if they want to take the easier route.
Yeah. I get it. And that makes, I think it's a weird time for us to be doing this, but I guess I can go back. We're in the middle of everything shutting down and people losing their businesses all the time. It's just weird that it's an odd time for us. I know we've talked about this for a long time, so it's kind of like it's finally now coming to fruition, but I just, so many businesses going under for us to add on the stipulation just seems a little.
I suppose we could include in the resolution, which is very bare, that we can include what Clint said, right? Which, they can always choose not to agree to the terms and just be heard, have their application heard, just like any other beer wine license application would be heard. And that, that in this time, this isn't to discourage new businesses, but it is being mindful that we have existing businesses to whom we, be equally mindful we have existing businesses that we do have obligations to, right? We need to support them in the best way that we can. I think I could say that in a more artful way, but that this is
sorry. Just how is this supporting them?
Because
I do mean that sincerely. I don't mean that glibly.
The existing businesses wouldn't have the restriction, right? So they could apply to upgrade. The existing beer wine licenses could apply, and they may.
Okay.
And I can say it a better way. I'm just trying to figure out how to say it. But you know, that we can say that we want businesses who are agreeing that their businesses aren't going to substantially change within a period of time, and you know that they're going to adhere to the method of operation for which they were granted the administrative approval for a period of time, and that in this climate of really of uncertainty, that's the expectation we have for the new businesses that want to have beer wine licenses in this community. I can withdraw it. I mean, I will say the resolution that I sort of drafted and gave to everybody, it wasn't very strongly worded because it was very hard to, you know, either devise something strongly in favor or something strongly opposed, right? And the reason that I say that is because while I recognize that these are administrative approvals, and that they're getting the benefit of not being heard, they're also beer wine licenses, and more often than not, which is 99.9% of the time, they will be approved
by the state.
Because the state believes it's obligated under the law to approve those kinds of licenses, or under the case law that has developed with respect to them. Yes. So, I mean, we can impose a stipulation, we can impose a period of time, we can discuss what that period of time would be. And then I think we should also include something in what's posted online with the administrative approval process, which is not anything we vote on because it just gets changed by Susan when we have discussions about it. But it would be that, you know, that we, you know, the expectation is that part of this benefit is that you're going to adhere to the method of operation that you're proposing to us, or at least for a period of time. So does anybody else want to be heard? Do you want me to take a straw poll? I'm happy to continue the discussion.
I can, and I know I said my piece, but I can go either way. I agree that maybe now isn't the time to do it, but I do think we do need to do it at some point because I think especially we are opening indoor, going to 50% at the end of October. Like maybe that is the time where people are going to start their plans up again, and we're going to start getting applications. And did we miss a chance to keep things under control?
So I think, go ahead, Herman.
No, I'm just saying, why don't we just do the stipulation regarding the period of time after administrative approval to come back to the community board. If you want, even if you
Herman,
Hold on, you muted.
yourself.
If the state will 99.9% approve that the beer and wine, and if they're operating, at least we will know based on their operating, not for 6 months or 3 months or whatever, but at least we could judge them for any upgrade after a year or after. So are we saying, well, we're saying to do stipulation or not to do stipulation?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, like I said, go either way, but I would think we should just do the stipulation now and waiting until things get together and everybody starts to, come around, then we're going to struggle to find out what to do. It's better if we do it now and then review it in 6 months or something and get the reaction.
We can do that too.
Yeah. And again, I think I would feel differently if this was their only option, but they still have every option to come and be heard by us. They don't have to do the administrative approval process. So.
Mm-hmm.
No, I understand.
I would just say Herman reminded me about that component that the year would give time to evaluate operations, but how would we do that at this point when things are so different from where they might be in a year?
Because they can't have indoor. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
Like, it's just how do we know what it's like? And also, like it seems like this could have unintended consequences potentially. I know that the applicants could come and go before the committee without administrative approval, but I just worry it might be a little protectionist, which could have some unintended consequences right now. I guess it's hard to think about changing things when we're in this like really uncertain, unstable period anyway. That's just my feeling.
Mhm.
It does seem like an unnecessary barrier at this time of like, they could go around, but maybe the thought of like trying to open a place right now, it's another barrier of being like, well, we can't get administratively approved because that would inhibit us. So that adds another layer while we're trying to open a business in the middle of COVID. I don't not see the whole thing. I can't not see also what's happening right now during this time. And so I don't think I can support that.
Do you want to just postpone this discussion then?
Well, but I mean, it sounds like there's more support for it. So don't let my.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Jesse, we could postpone it, but the only thing I'm asking, it would be a time frame that we would, December, January, February.
Yeah.
Either way.
You mean to evaluate whether or not it's causing like a decrease in administrative approvals? Because it's certainly not going to, that kind of time frame is not going to have an impact on, if it were a stipulation that said 1 year of operation, it wouldn't have, that wouldn't have happened even for places that apply next month, right? So it would be just, is that what you mean, Herman, to evaluate whether or not it's having like a deterrent effect on beer wine applications?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I doubt it because I mean it's costly now to run a place and and apply for a beer and wine, because I don't think that beer and wine revenue driven to the point where even if they get the concession in rent, that they'll be doing business at this time significantly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So maybe I'll just ask that we postpone it for 6 months and come back to it.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
All right. Anybody else? Ellen? Ellen, we can't see you. We can't hear you or see you.
I don't really think it'll make much of a difference, but I think this has been in place, or there's a desire for this, because it's a reflection of a historic issue, and assuming that once the vaccine is effective, then the situations that
we hope
we will still have to deal with. And so as a deterrent, I mean, as someone who works for a person who is opening up a said new business, who has invested a lot of money into it, I don't think these things are that big of a deterrent, because the bulk of your money invested initially to start this business is so much larger. And I think, the math just doesn't make sense from that perspective for me. So I don't find this to be a bad deterrent. I actually find this to be a good deterrent, especially addressing.
You mean you're in favor of it?
Yes, I am in favor of this.
Okay.
In terms of the normal situation, the SLA situation that this community has had to deal with historically, and based on the assumption that at some point things will go back to that type of situation, because there is still a saturation issue currently. And even in a pandemic situation, there is still a struggle to get people to behave in a specific way when alcohol is involved. right? So it's not like that behavior is gone. The behavior is still there. So in terms of the economics perspective, I don't think what is proposed becomes that big of a deterrent, especially if you're opening up a new business. Now, will it deter you from sustaining, your current business on such a slim margin already during this pandemic? The upgrade might not, because it's the addition. The current businesses that are sustaining on 1 or 2 tables on the street, they're not sustaining off of that. They're sustaining off of the savings and the extra money that they're pushing into the business. Those 3, 4 tables, it's not sustaining your rent. So it barely covers your employees' wages. So, I mean, financially, I don't really understand that argument.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how this is tying into the stipulation.
So from a deterrent argument, like I don't quite understand. But I think in terms of deterring bad behavior, future bad behavior, I think that's going to help. And I think maybe that would help also the office internally. There might be some operational stuff in there. So I'm in favor of this.
Okay. So then really, Clint, so you were coming out in favor of it, is that right?
I'm generally in favor of it, but I'm not set in stone either. I could go with delaying this for a month or 2 to see what happens. Maybe that's delaying the inevitable. Maybe that's opening us up for, we're not going to be prepared when it does start back up. But there's enough we don't know that I'm okay with that as well.
Well, generally, I am in favor. However, if we give it another review time of a review, I might feel the same that I am for doing stipulation.
Well, we can consider it again in 2 months or something like that. If you want to do it that way. Again, I see both sides of the issues that we're discussing here. And I also see the issue with sort of imposing this additional requirement now at this stage, or the perception of what the perception might be, and also the potential impact, what Laura has been speaking about. So, look, I'm not quite sure what to do. I know we had difficulty with it last month, and I want to guide you in the best way that I can. If we're divided on it, then maybe we should hear it, maybe not next month, but in November.
I mean, if we say, let's do it now, how divided we are? Only 3 people, 2 people?
3 to 3, like 3 to 3. That kind of divided? Does it seem that way?
I mean, I agree with you that we're that divided, and even those of us, I'm not 100% convinced either way. So I'm on the fence myself.
That's why I'm asking for.
I mean, it's fine if you're saying we're just not ready to pose this right now. It's fine. Yeah. That's fine. Right.
But I do know, I have a friend who was looking at opening up a bar. She's checked out 3 locations. One already had higher than an offering price on rent with 3 offers in it. Another one had 2. These are all in the East Village. And, so I just don't know that we're going to be in this decimated landscape that was maybe predicted. It doesn't seem like, and I mean, if you've been out on Avenue B on a weekend, it's been worse than the videos of St. Mark's.
Of course.
I mean, so there's business going on. But again, I agree that maybe this isn't the time to impose this, at least even if nothing else, for the perception of it. Maybe we postpone this 2 months till November.
That's fine.
And
Can we
reconsider
move
it
on
at
to
that
the need statement then? What?
I agree.
And I was going to say, and
Okay.
reconsider it at that point. Maybe we'll know more. Maybe we won't know more. We have no idea. So.
All right, moving on to the need statement. Did everybody review the amendments?
Yes.
Yes.
I did, and I think the only thing I had, Alex, was maybe we should do something around the sidewalk cafe to incorporate.
Yeah, and I drafted a paragraph for it.
Okay, just to incorporate the outdoor dining as it is now.
Yeah, so what I was going to suggest was that we include a paragraph that says that as the city sought to lessen restrictions, I'm sorry, I just jotted this down quickly before this meeting, placed on businesses after the stay-at-home orders and New York State executive orders, and the city permitted eating and drinking establishments to have outdoor dining contiguous to the businesses or on the streets in front of the businesses. And the city has now elected, take out now because it would have already happened. So, and the city then elected to extend that program or that use. It's not really a program and it's not a practice because it only happened once. So that use into the summer of 2021. Yeah. And that the use, which has in effect expanded sidewalk seating, has also exacerbated patron crowds on the street, outdoor noise, and businesses encroaching on public space, and has further highlighted the need for sufficient enforcement during all hours. And that, in fact, is still one of our requests. So I think it ties into what the then bullet point requests are, because we're asking for additional enforcement because it's never been adequate and now it's further inadequate. But if we're going to continue to allow outdoor use, then we should be enforcing it properly. That's it. So that's just my proposal to add that in at Clint's suggestion. Does anybody want to be heard, or is that fine?
Fine with
In which case I'll add it in and we'll send it back to the office, otherwise as is, with the Jim's amendments and then my amendments. So Jim's are red, mine are purple. And basically they were just to include the, we'll wait and see, you know, we're going to be monitoring conditions closely. We'll wait and see what's happening. And they made more general the asks at the end of the nightlife portion of the statement of needs. Okay, and I don't think we have to vote on it because I think we're going to vote on the whole thing in October. Right? Okay. Anybody want to bring up anything else?
No, not me.
Because look, it's not even 8:30 yet, so I feel like
I know this is.
That's good.
We can talk about at least 3 other things, 4 or 5 other things.
Nope, all good.
I'm good.
All right. Well, Laura went away.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Turned off her video.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, so motion to adjourn. She's saying bye. So have a good night, everybody.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.